It all started on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, when the hum of checkout scanners and the shuffle of shopping carts filled the aisles of Miller's Market. But within that mundane routine, a moment was about to unfold that would shake a town and change lives forever. Ben Carter was a 19-year-old grocery bagger at Miller's. He wasn't flashy. He didn't talk much. In fact, most people barely noticed him as he packed their bread, milk, and eggs into paper bags with careful hands. He wore the same faded blue hoodie every shift, worked extra hours to support his sick mom, and took the bus home in the dark. To many, he was invisible. But not to Mr. and Mrs. Thompkins. The Thompkins were an elderly couple who shopped at the store every Thursday without fail. Harold, 82, still wore suspenders and a fedora, and his wife Louise, 79, always carried a red leather purse she'd had since college. They walked slowly, smiled at everyone, and talked to Ben like he mattered. That afternoon, though, wasn't their usual calm visit. As Ben walked back into the store from collecting carts, he heard raised voices near the parking lot. At first, he thought it was a customer dispute, until he saw a man, tall and aggressive, towering over Harold and Louise, yelling at them as they stood near their car. The stranger was berating them, accusing them of scratching his vehicle. Harold, clearly shaken, tried to explain that they hadn't even parked near him, but the man wasn't listening. He shoved Harold backward, causing him to stumble. Ben didn't think. He dropped the cart handle and ran. "Hey! Back off," he shouted, stepping between the men and the couple. The men scoffed. "What are you gonna do, kid? Bag me to death?" But Ben stood his ground, shaking slightly but resolute. "They didn't touch your car. You're harassing them, and you need to leave." The store manager rushed out just in time to see Ben holding the line. A few other bystanders started pulling out phones. Faced with witnesses, the man finally retreated, cursing under his breath and disappearing into the crowd. Harold looked at Ben with tears in his eyes. You stood up for us." Louise gripped his hand. "No one's done that for us in a long time." The story could have ended there, with a young man doing the right thing and a grateful couple returning home safely. But this was only the beginning. The store's security footage was reviewed and shared with local authorities. The man who attacked the Thompkins was identified and charged with harassment. But what caught the attention of the community wasn't just the footage, it was Ben's courage. A regular customer who witnessed the event posted about it online. Within hours, the post went viral. People were stunned that a minimum wage employee would risk confrontation to protect strangers. The local news station did a segment on the hero bagger. Donations poured in from strangers. Some offered Ben job opportunities. Others sent gift cards. But Ben, shy and humble, only smiled and said, "I just did what anyone should have done." What truly stunned the community came a week later. The Thompkins returned to Miller's, not with a shopping list, but with a lawyer. And a proposal. They had no children. Their savings had been quietly growing over the decades, with no one to leave it to. But after what Ben did, they decided to change their will. Not only that, they wanted to invest in his future now. They offered to pay Ben's full college tuition, rent for the next 4 years, and even help with his mother's medical bills. Ben was speechless. "I can't accept all this," he said, overwhelmed. Harold put a hand on his shoulder. "Ben, we've spent a lifetime saving for the right reason. And we believe you are that reason." Ben eventually accepted, under one condition, that he could pay it forward somehow. Months later, with the Thompkins' help, Ben launched a scholarship fund for underprivileged youth in the community. "Not all heroes wear capes," he said at the launch. "Some just wear aprons and bag groceries. But we all have the power to protect each other, and to change the course of someone's life." The store gave Ben a plaque. The mayor gave him a medal. But what mattered most to Ben was the quiet visits with Harold and Louise every Sunday, where they'd talk about life, laugh over coffee, and remind each other that kindness, real, brave, inconvenient kindness, is still alive in the world. And so, a young grocery bagger, an elderly couple, and one moment of courage turned into a ripple that moved an entire community.